In this session, we're going to talk about how to make a law school study routine. A law school study routine is very important for a couple of reasons. First, it'll help you feel in control throughout the semester. In law school, there is a lot to do, and law students are notoriously overwhelmed and stressed out. So if you have a good law school study routine in place, you can manage everything that you have to do, and you will not feel as stressed out or overwhelmed. Of course, at some points throughout the semester, you might feel stressed out or overwhelmed, but it doesn't have to be your constant state of being. The second reason a law school study routine is important is because it'll help you manage your time so you can study efficiently and productively. There is a lot to do in law school, so you want to be able to prioritize and think about ahead of time what you're going to focus on. If you have a good routine, you will not only know when and where you'll be studying, but you'll also know what you'll be doing when you study, because you'll have thought about it ahead of time, and you'll be thinking about the final exam, you'll think about preparing for class, you'll be prioritizing what you need to do, and you'll be maximizing your efficiency. So that's what we're going to talk about in these sessions. In this first session, we're going to talk about how to create a law school study routine, where you figure out both when you'll study and where you'll study. And I highly recommend you do this prior to the semester starting. In the second session, we're going to figure out what you'll be doing when you sit down to study. So then you're going to have your law school study schedule mapped out from the very beginning of law school. That second session, where we talk about what you'll be doing every week, that's something that you're going to want to really do every single week of law school. You're going to want to sit down and plan out the week ahead. So we're going to be talking about how to do that in these sessions. So first, let's talk about how to make a law school study routine that tells you both when and where you'll be studying. And step one is to take out a blank sheet of paper or use the document that we've attached for you, or find a blank calendar somewhere. And you want this blank calendar to account for basically every waking hour of the day. So it should have all hours of the day. We recommend in half-hour increments, where it'll say something like, okay, 7 a.m. I get up, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30. So basically you can plan out your whole day. All right, so that's the first step, is use a weekly calendar that's blank. And again, we've provided one for you, but if you don't want to use the one we provided you, you can use whatever you would like. Second, fill in the days and times that you have classes with one color. You have to go to class in law school. It's very important. Professors test on what they teach, and the class discussion is often what helps you think analytically and get into the mindset of a lawyer. So it's very important that you go to class, so you want to fill in the days and times that you have class with one color so that those are accounted for in your schedule. Next, fill in your necessary daily obligations and tasks. Some things might include getting ready in the morning, commuting to and from school, whether that's walking or driving, eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you want to account for that, taking some breaks throughout the day. Put it all right in your schedule so that it's accounted for. You should also include some time with family and friends. Just because law school is busy does not mean that it has to be your entire life. It's true you won't be going out every single night with friends, but you can still go out on weekends and have a life outside of law school. And in fact, I recommend it. It often helps keep anxiety down and helps you study more productively when you actually do sit down to study. Any other commitments you might have, like religious or family commitments, should be included right in your schedule. Meeting with a study group, if you benefit from meeting with a study group, should be included in your schedule. And then a break for a few hours a day, a half day, even a whole day. I highly recommend including a break right in your schedule. And this is not a break to do laundry and chores necessarily. This is just a break where you have some unplanned time to do whatever you want, whether it's watch TV, relax, cook, whatever you enjoy doing for fun, going on a long walk. I would take every single Sunday off in law school, and I found that that was extremely motivating throughout the week. I would study really hard throughout the week, and then I would have a break day. And then I also found myself energized on Monday morning when it was time to start studying again. And a lot of law students find it really stressful to take one full day off a week or to put that in their calendar. So instead, what they'll do is put something like a half a day a week, like every Saturday afternoon and evening or something like that, or a few hours throughout the week. They'll plan different breaks for themselves. And again, I highly recommend adding something like this to your schedule. Next, plan time for sleep and exercise. Make sure that you're sleeping 6 to 8 hours a night, however much sleep you need. It should make it right into your calendar. And same with exercise. Some people will try to sleep less or not exercise in law school in hopes that they'll have more time to study. But the truth is, if you're not sleeping, you're going to have a hard time concentrating. You're going to have a hard time focusing in class. You won't be able to grasp concepts as quickly. You won't be able to respond as quickly if you're called on. And it'll take a toll, both physically and mentally. And same with not exercising. Exercising has so many mental benefits as well as physical benefits that it's so important that you include it in your schedule. When I was in law school, I would go jogging every single morning. It was just part of my daily routine, and it would help me focus better, concentrate. It would motivate me to study. It made me much more productive when I did sit down and study. So I highly recommend including this in your schedule. It doesn't necessarily have to be every day, but it should be something that it's included every week. Decide when and where you'll study. So now you have to consider whether you're a morning person or a night person, and what environment is best for you. And remember, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. What worked for you in the past will work for you now. For example, I am a morning person. I get a lot done in the morning. So if I need to study, I will start early in the morning, like at 5 a.m. Because I know that I'll be productive, I'll be able to concentrate, I'll be able to focus, I got my cup of coffee, I'm in a good mood, I'm ready to study. But after 8 p.m., I'm useless, okay? I can't learn really complicated concepts, or I'm not going to do well on a practice exam if I start at 8 p.m. So consider what time is best for you. You might be a morning person, you might be an evening person, or you might just be a day person, somebody that studies really well in the afternoon or during the day. All right, and use that to your advantage. If you're a morning person, get up early and study in the morning. Use your best time to your advantage. Also figure out where you study best. Some people study best at home. Okay, they're comfortable, they don't have to go anywhere, it's easy for them to study, versus other people will find it very hard to concentrate at home because they'll get too distracted. All right, so consider whether you study best at home, in a library, at a coffee shop. Think about what works best for you and include it in your schedule. And keep in mind, this can change. This is not set in stone. So if you decide, oh, you know what, I do want to get up even earlier than I planned, or I actually am not studying very productively at home, maybe I want to go to the library, you can change that as time goes on. But this will let you have a good plan in place so that you can try to figure out what is best for you ahead of time and then just modify it or tweak it as you figure out what works and what doesn't. Your completed study schedule might look something like this. All right, so it really has every hour accounted for on this schedule. One question that students often ask is, how many hours a day do I need to study? Because this schedule has a lot of time allocated to studying. Okay, do I need to study that long? And what I recommend is that you study a few hours every day if possible, and then more on the weekends. But there's not really a set hour amount, because what's more important than how long you study is what you're doing when you study. And let me give you an example. Okay, I'm going to give you person A and person B. We'll call them Ann and Bob. All right, let's say Ann goes to the library on Sunday for 12 hours. Literally from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. she's in the library. And during that entire time, she's briefing cases for the following week. All right, so she's going to be prepared for class. She might feel pretty good if she's called on. She knows what's going on in cases. She's prepared for class discussion. Good. Okay, that was 12 hours of studying. That's a long time. And it might take you that long or longer if you're going to brief every case that you have assigned. All right, and then let's say Bob. He goes to the library for 8 hours on Sunday. He spends 2 hours adding to his outlines or getting started on his outlines. And then he spends another hour reviewing his outlines and trying to start learning the law, memorizing some elements of law. Then he spends another hour going through practice problems. He only needs an hour because maybe it's the beginning of the semester. He's doing some problems from examples and explanations. Then he spends, an hour or two on a legal writing or research project that he has assigned. And then he spends 2 hours preparing for Monday's class. So he's reading some cases, maybe he's going to be on call, so he wants to brief cases or read them really closely. All right, so it takes him 2 hours to do that. So he spent about 8 hours studying. So that's 4 hours less than Ann. But his studying was a lot more productive and focused. His studying will not only prepare him for the class the next day, but it will also prepare him for his final exam because he's outlining, he's learning the law, he's making sure he can apply it by doing practice problems. So that is a really efficient approach to studying. So even though he's studying less, he's actually getting a lot more out of his studying. And by the way, outlining and learning his outlines is going to help him with class too, because he's going to be able to figure out where that case fits in the overall scheme of things. He's not going to feel lost in class. He'll be able to draw back on concepts that he's already learned to help him understand the current case that he's reading. So outlining and learning your outlines is not just an exercise that will help on the final exam, it will also help prepare for class as well. So I would recommend that you make sure that you're putting in the time, because obviously you need to study, a certain amount of time every week or you're just not going to get everything done. But focus more on what you're doing when you study rather than how long you're studying for each day.